The sun set slow and wide across the open plains of Reprise County, painting the hills in burnt gold. My ranch, nearly 60 acres of rough earth and tougher history, sits just past the old cotton line. It's quiet out here, peaceful, if you don't count the coyotes yipping at night or the occasional low-flying chopper from the sheriff's department. I didn't come here to make trouble. My name's Marcus Givens, 38, father of 2, husband to the strongest woman I know. I'm a retired Marine turned rancher. Bought this land 4 years ago with my VA loan and a lifetime of grit. Rebuilt the barn myself, fenced the creek, planted the orchard, named every chicken after an old jazz musician. This land ain't just soil, it's survival. Most of the time, the only neighbors I see are the cows and the mail lady, Miss Darlene, who always hands over my packages with a joke about how you city boys adapt fast. But lately, things been shifting. It started small like all snakes do. A week ago, I found a laminated flyer stuffed in my gate. Reprise Hills Homeowners Association mandatory meeting. Now, I don't live in Reprise Hills. I live adjacent to it. There's a difference, both in geography and mindset. They've got matching mailboxes and rules about what shade of beige your house can be. I got a tractor with a cracked headlight and an old trespassing sign spray painted on a tin sheet. Still, I figured it was a mix-up until my wife found the same notice taped to our chicken coop. That's when I felt the first itch on the back of my neck. That old Marine gut instinct, the one that whispered in Hellman Province when something wasn't right, started whispering again. At Sunday service, I noticed it too. Miss Beverly, an elder in town, pulled me aside. "They say you're not keeping the property tidy enough," she murmured, "talking about your aesthetic. Aesthetic. That word always tastes sour when it's used on black folks who live a little too proud." I brush it off. One flyer, one comment. It's nothing. Probably just someone new on the HOA board trying to stretch their reach. I go back to mending fences and feeding goats. But I can't ignore how the trucks from Reprise Hills keep slowing down near my gate. How the new white lady jogging past won't wave back, even when my 5-year-old daughter yells hi from the porch. It's subtle. That kind of racism that wears pearls and smiles tight. The kind that pretends it's policy. I tell myself it'll pass. But deep down I know better. Trouble's circling. And it don't knock. It just kicks the door in. Tuesday morning, I find tire tracks in my pasture. Deep ones, fresh. Whoever it was didn't just drive by. They drove through. I followed them with a slow stride, boots crunching over dew-slick grass. The tracks snake past the grazing goats and stop right behind my hay shed, then disappear, like they backed out quiet, uninvited. I checked the motion camera, mounted near the barn. Nothing. Battery's dead. Of course. My fault. I've been so busy fixing fence posts, I forgot to recharge the solar rig. They've got the gall to list infractions. Unauthorized structures, non-standard fencing, and the kicker, excessive livestock. I stare at the paper like it might rewrite itself. There's no compliance division. There's no jurisdiction out here. Then I see the name at the bottom. Sandra Wickham, HOA chairwoman. I remember her. Platinum blonde. Drives a white Lexus SUV, like a chariot of judgment. Moved in 6 months ago. Word is she left some gated suburb near Dallas after things got political. She waved at me once. Tight-lipped. The kind of wave that says, "I see you," but not in a neighborly way. I crumple the letter and toss it into the burn barrel. But the next day, I catch her on my land. She's standing near my orchard fence, talking into her phone, wearing one of those wide-brimmed hats that blocks both sun and shame. I step out with a rake in hand, keeping my voice level. "Can I help you, ma'am?" She doesn't flinch, just blinks slow and turns toward me, smiling like I'm a child who spilled something on the carpet. I was just checking the boundaries. The HOA has concerns about your property lines. Your HOA, I think, not mine. This here's my ranch, I say calmly, not subject to your bylaws. She glances at my goats, then at my daughter's swing set. We'll see about that. And just like that, she turns and walks back across the field like she owns it. I walked the whole perimeter that night. Rechecking lines, locks gates. Everything's in place, but my peace of mind ain't. I sleep light, hand on the .45 in the nightstand, eyes darting toward the sound of every creak in the house. 2 days later, my wife finds one of our goats bleeding from a cut along its side. Not a predator bite. A clean slice, like it was knifed. The next morning, I drive straight to the Reprise County Recorder's office with my land deed in hand. Miss Shirley behind the counter has been working here 30 years. She squints at the paper Sandra Wickham sent me, lips curling like she just tasted vinegar. "This ain't worth the toner it was printed with," she mutters. "HOA can't regulate land outside their covenant lines, Marcus. You're clear as day." I nod, but it doesn't feel like relief. It feels like confirmation. They know they got no power, and they're trying to take it anyway. I ask Shirley for certified boundary maps. She makes me copies, notarized and stamped. I tuck them into a weatherproof folder and drive straight back to the ranch. Halfway down my dirt road, I see the white Lexus again, parked idling like it's waiting to pounce. I pull alongside and lower my window. Sandra doesn't. She smirks from behind tinted glass, phone to her ear. "Still got no wave?" I ask. She finally rolls her window down. "You've got 1 week to bring the property into compliance. After that, we'll escalate enforcement." "You got no jurisdiction, Sandra." I say, showing her the stamped boundary lines. "This is Reprise County land, not some pretend gated kingdom." She leans in, smile gone. "We'll see what the sheriff thinks." She drives off, fast, and suddenly I get it. She's not just testing boundaries. She's trying to provoke, to bait, get me angry, get me reactive, so she can twist it. But I've been through worse than this in Afghanistan. I've seen men try to break me with fire and sand. She ain't got the teeth. So I prepare. I mount new cameras. High-res, night vision, wireless cloud storage. I notify the local game warden about the injured goat. He agrees to log it as a suspicious animal cruelty report. And then I call in someone I trust. Zane. We serve together. He runs a private security firm now. Does consulting. I don't need bodyguards. I need strategy. Start documenting everything. He says, any encounter, any conversation. Assume every move they make is setting you up. We sweep the perimeter. Hidden trail cams. Motion sensors. Zane even sets up a camouflage drone perch in the tree line. "They're getting bold," he mutters, pointing to new tire tracks near the back fence. "And they're not scared." He's right. That night, Sandra hosts an emergency HOA meeting, and conveniently, it spills over onto my property. Her friends, middle-aged white men in golf polos and mirrored sunglasses, park in my field without asking, pop beers, and laugh loud under my moonlight. My wife takes our kids inside. I step out onto the porch, armed with nothing but a flashlight and a camera. "Evening, folks," I say. "This here's private land." One of them scoffs. "You should be grateful we're even trying to clean this place up." Sandra's right behind him, clutching a binder like it's a holy book. "We have concerns about your livestock permits, your building codes. This ain't suburbia." I cut in. "This is sovereign taxed independent land." Her eyes narrow. "Then we'll escalate. For the safety of the neighborhood." That word hangs there. Heavy, racist, veiled just enough to be deniable. Safety, neighborhood, code for you don't belong. I don't say a word, just record. They leave eventually, but not before one of the men whispers to me on the way out. "Careful, cowboy. Accidents happen out here." That's when I know this isn't dispute anymore. It's war. Friday evening. The sky bleeds orange over Reprise Ridge. I'm chopping kindling out by the shed when my daughter screams. I drop the axe and run. Out front, my wife shielding the kids behind our pickup. Sandra's white Lexus is halfway up our drive, and stepping out of the passenger seat, a man in full tactical gear. Black vest, badge clipped on. But something's wrong. The patch says Reprise Hills HOA Enforcement Unit. My chest tightens. There's no such unit. Sandra steps out like she's walking a red carpet. arms folded, sunglasses catching the last bit of sunlight. Behind her, 3 other HOA men fan out, like they're staging a scene for a reality show. "You've been warned," she says. "This is a code enforcement action." I stare at her, calm, even as the man in the vest unslings a taser from his belt. "You're trespassing," I say. She smirks. "We're within our right to enforce safety standards." "You have no right out here. You're not law enforcement. That badge means nothing." The man steps forward, hand now resting on a gun. That's when I feel it. My wife trembling behind me, my son clutching her leg, my daughter staring, silent. Sandra tilts her head. "If you resist, I'll have to escalate this to the sheriff. You wouldn't want to be branded hostile, would you?" There it is. The word. Hostile. Another code word. Aggressive. Dangerous. Threat. She want me to raise my voice. Make a move. She's got someone filming on a phone, angled low to make me look bigger, scarier. But I don't give her what she wants. I raise my voice just enough to be heard across the land. "You're impersonating law enforcement." I say, "You just committed a felony." Sandra laughs. Actually laughs. "Who's going to believe you, Marcus?" I have community support. I have footage. All anyone will see is a belligerent man refusing lawful orders. She turns toward the guy in the vest. "Disarm him." He reaches. That's when I raise my hand. Not to strike. To point at the black camera mounted under my porch eave. Flashing red. Live. Smile, I say. You're being streamed. Refries County Sheriff Department. Direct cloud feed. Sandra freezes. I nod toward the tree line. A low hum breaks the stillness. Zane's drone lifts from behind the barn roof. Camera zeroed in. It's already been filming. Broadcasting. My neighbor pulls up then. Mr. Alvarez from 2 parcels over. Rancher. Brown skin like me. Ex-cop. He steps out holding his phone. Still recording. "Sheriff's 10 minutes out," he says. "And you're going to have a hell of a time explaining why your little HOA armies got sidearms and badges." The fake officer takes a step back. Then 2. Sandra's face twists, disbelief pouring into panic. You staged this." "No," I say. "You staged this. I just documented it." She lunges for her phone, probably trying to stop her recording. Too late. Zane's drone pans slowly as more neighbors gather near the road, whispering, watching. I hear sirens in the distance. Fast. Close. Sandra opens her mouth. But whatever she was about to say dies under the weight of what's coming. And that's when I know. She just lost. Sheriff Mendez pulls up in a cloud of red dust. Sirens still wailing as he throws open his cruiser door. 2 deputies follow close behind, stepping out with practice calm. "Everyone down," he yells. "Hands where I can see 'em." The man in the fake tactical vest raises his hands slowly, face blank. But Sandra starts shouting. "This is a misunderstanding. We were enforcing HOA codes. He attacked us." Her voice is shrill now, the polished veneer cracking. Sheriff Mendez narrows his eyes. "Sandra Wickham, I want you to step away from that man and place your hands on the hood of your vehicle." She blinks. "Me? I'm the victim here." "No," Mendez says, nodding at my porch camera. "You're the criminal. That's the 3rd time this week you've trespassed on land you don't govern. But this time, you brought a man with a weapon and a fake badge. That's felony impersonation of an officer." I step forward, but only enough to speak. "Sheriff, we got over 30 minutes of drone footage. Porch cam got audio, and my neighbor has another angle, plus certified land boundaries. You want me to forward the files?" Mendez looks over, jaw tight. "Already got him. Your friend Zane's fast with satellite uplink." Sandra starts backing away, like distance will undo everything. "You're making a mistake," she hisses. "You don't know who I am. My husband's on the city council." "Then he better lawyer up too," Mendez snaps. "Because this wasn't just trespass. You conspired to stage a confrontation on private land with armed men, and you filmed it, hoping to provoke a reaction, paint Marcus as a threat. That last word, threat, hangs between us all. Everyone hears it for what it is now. Not fear, bigotry, weaponized. Sandra tries a final pivot. This is political. You're just covering for them. Her voice turns acidic on that last word. My kids flinch behind me. My wife squeezes my shoulder. The sheriff doesn't flinch. Lady, you walked onto a black veterans ranch with armed civilians pretending to be cops, and you broadcasted it. Your face is already trending. He turns to one of his deputies. Get her out of here. They cuff Sandra. She howls, sputters, fights. Don't you touch me. I'll sue you all. I'll bury you. This isn't over. But it is, because as she's hauled to the cruiser, more neighbors gather. Some film, others mutter. Mr. Alvarez walks over and claps me on the back. You did good, brother. Most folks would have snapped. I nod, eyes still on Sandra as she's loaded into the back seat, screaming about lawyers' conspiracies, HOA rights. But then another truck pulls up, news van, the local station. Guess word travels fast in refries. The reporter steps out and asks, Mr. King, do you have a statement about the HOA incident? I glance toward my wife, toward my children, toward the cameras that almost destroyed me, but ended up saving us instead. Yeah, I say, I do. I hold up the notarized land deed and wave toward the scorched grass where they tried to corner me. This land's been in my family since my grandfather came back from Korea. No, HOA, no badge, no bigot is going to take that from us. Not now, not ever. A week later, Sandra's mugshot is on every local station. Hair disheveled, eyes wild, caption underneath, HOA leader arrested for felony trespass, conspiracy, and impersonation incident at Refry's Ranch. Her HOA board tries to distance itself fast. Public statements, legal disclaimers, even an emergency election to strip her title. But it's too late. Her emails leak, minutes from private board meetings. HOA members forced to resign under pressure. And the man in tactical gear? Turns out he's an ex-security guard with a revoked license. He's looking at prison time. Federal charges pending. But it's not just the arrests. It's the fallout. HOA members who once crossed the street to avoid talking to me now stop their cars and wave. Some knock on our door. Apologies thick on their tongues. Some genuine. Others cautious. Watching which way the wind's blowing. Little things first. The Latino family down the road gets invited to the town farmers market planning committee for the first time in a decade. An old Korean veteran who's lived here longer than anyone gets publicly thanked at the community center. Eyes open, bias exposed. And I can't lie, it's gratifying, but also exhausting, because it shouldn't have taken a live stream and a woman with a fake badge to remind people I belong here, that we belong here. I walk the land more now, mornings especially. The sun doesn't rise so much as stretch over the hills, like it's waking from a long nap. Birds peck along the fence line. My daughter's laughter drift from the porch, where she draws on the concrete with sidewalk chalk. My son's taken a flying Zane's drone. He says he wants to be a filmmaker now. We're healing. Not whole yet, but healing. Then one afternoon, Sheriff Mendez drives out again. This time no lights, no sirens. He brings paperwork, closure of Sandra's case. Trial's moving forward. He says I might be asked to testify. I tell him I'll be there. Before he leaves, he pauses, looks out across the field, toward the creek Sandra once claimed was common property. You know, he says, I've served this county 22 years. I've seen a lot of messes. But I've never seen someone stay that calm with a gun pointed at them and their kids crying behind them. I shrugged, didn't feel calm. Just knew if I cracked, she'd win. He nods slowly. You didn't just stop her, Marcus. You exposed her. And in doing that, you gave this town a mirror. Some folks ain't gonna like what they see in it, but some they'll change. He drives off, and I just stand there, watching the horizon, thinking about my grandfather, about the man who built this land with calloused hands and a spine too proud to bend, who survived war abroad only to face new battles at home. I think about Sandra's face when the sirens came. Not scared, furious. Furious the rules finally applied to her. That's what it's always been, hasn't it? Not about fear, about control. But not anymore, because we filmed everything, because we stayed calm, because justice, however late, showed up in a Refries County cruiser. As the wind picks up, I walk back to the porch. My wife's waiting with 2 cold lemonades and a quiet smile. I sit down beside her, looking out at the ranch. Our ranch, still ours, always will be,